The anime begins with Oren, an adventurer who can use both sword skills and magic, but that's exactly why he gets kicked out of the hero's party. Their leader Oliver tells him he's had plenty of chances to improve since they've been friends since childhood, but he still isn't strong enough to keep up. 8 years ago they formed the party and even reached the 94th floor of the Southern Great Dungeon, earning the title of the hero's party, but now Oliver says they need a proper enchanter, and after their last raid it became clear that Oren can't compete with true S-rank enchanters. Oren explains he was originally a swordsman, but switched to being an enchanter because the party needed one. He even created his own magic to make up for his weaknesses. Still, Oliver tells him they've already found a replacement. Realizing their decision is final, Oren thanks them, but one of the mages mocks him, calling him a jack of all trades who can do many things but only at an average level. In the present, Oren fights goblins alone, using buffs to boost his strength. He's glad his sword skills are still sharp. Even though his buffs don't last long, he has developed a new fighting style that mixes swordsmanship with support magic, determined to prove he's not just average. After registering a teleportation point in the dungeon, he sees a group of adventurers running away. They admit they left a girl behind because they couldn't handle the orcs, and their leader says she's not worth saving. Hearing this, Oren gets angry since he knows what it feels like to be abandoned. When one of them tries to attack him, Oren easily knocks him down and demands to know where the girl is. He finds her surrounded by orcs barely holding up a barrier. Just as it breaks, Oren arrives, using wind magic to push the orcs back and charging straight into battle. The girl is shocked to see him fight while using support spells. As he cuts down the orcs and enhances his blade with magic, she wonders if he's a swordsman or an enchanter. After defeating them, he checks if she's okay. She breaks down, realizing how close she was to dying. He helps her out of the dungeon, but she insists on thanking him properly. She introduces herself as Sophia Claudel and invites him to dinner. At the restaurant, Oren realizes she belongs to the powerful Silver Rabbits Guild. There he meets her sister Selma, a famous and extremely powerful enchanter. Selma recognizes him and explains his reputation as a former hero's party member. Sophia is surprised, but Oren reveals he has already left the party. Selma quickly understands he's now free and offers him a role in an upcoming teaching expedition. The mission is to guide new recruits deep into the dungeon within just 3 days, something that normally takes months. Oren is shocked by the plan but understands its purpose. Still, he hesitates, saying he wants to move forward as a swordsman, not an enchanter. Selma agrees and tells him to report to their headquarters if he decides to join. Later, an old shopkeeper thanks Oren for his past help, reminding him that his worth doesn't depend on being a hero. Encouraged, Oren heads to the Silver Rabbits HQ the next day, where Selma welcomes him, glad he chose to come. Oren meets the guild leader Vince and asks about the teaching expedition. Vince lets Selma handle the explanation. Earlier, Selma had already told Vince that Oren left the hero's party, and without him they won't be as strong. She explains that even if his magic isn't the most powerful, his casting speed and unique spells made a huge difference. In her eyes, Oren has everything an enchanter needs. Now that he's free, she believes the Silver Rabbits can become the top guild again. Vince is shocked the hero's party let him go, but Selma says enchanters rarely get the credit they deserve. In the present, Selma explains the plan. They aim to reach the 51st floor in just 3 days. There are 10 rookie teams and only 5 escort groups. The rookies will fight while the escorts step in if needed. Oren feels this isn't enough support, but Selma says pressure helps them grow. He suspects there's another reason but agrees to help anyway. Vince offers him 2 gold coins up front and 10 more after success, which surprises him since it's a lot. Selma says it matches his value. At the dungeon entrance, Oren meets the others and sees Sophia again. He compliments her, making her blush. While Selma teases him, he says he just learned how to talk to girls from his old party. Sophia asks where he's staying, and he says he's at an inn for now. Selma jokes about her curiosity but then focuses on the mission. She introduces Oren to the escort team. Anthem and Bernard are defenders. Kathy is a healer, and Selma is the enchanter. Oren joins as the attacker, making the team balanced. It's revealed the guild recently lost their ace, and Selma chose Oren as a replacement. Even though Vince had doubts, Selma then presents Oren to the rookies, praising his experience of reaching the 94th floor. Everyone is impressed and gains confidence. She assigns him to Group 10, calling them the most promising and asking him to guide them. Group 10 has only 3 members, Logan, Carol, and Sophia. Logan is an enchanter who believes he'll surpass Selma someday. Carol is a defender who relies on dodging instead of defense. Sophia is a rear attacker and seems the most reasonable. Oren quickly realizes they are talented but flawed. As they enter the dungeon, Carol asks why Oren left the heroes' party, but he avoids the topic. Sophia then tells everyone how he saved her, making them respect him more. Oren uses smart tactics like traps to deal with monsters quickly and avoid wasting time. By the 20th floor, he evaluates them. Logan is talented but lacks leadership. Carol is fast but reckless and needs better gear. Sophia is steady and improving well. They defeat the boss and Selma tells everyone to register their progress and rest. Later, Oren tells Selma that Group 10 has potential but lacks teamwork, and he's especially worried about Carol. Selma says she has improved a lot. Back at the inn, Oren sees news that the heroes' party now has a new enchanter. He realizes people will find out he was replaced and worries about his reputation. The next day he meets Luna, his old friend from the heroes' party. She asks him to return and promises to convince the others. Oren refuses, knowing he was already rejected. She reminds him of their promise to conquer the dungeon together, which hits him hard. Still, he says that promise is broken now. Even though he still wishes for it, he walks away, accepting there's no place for him in the heroes' party anymore. Oren remembers the article saying he was kicked out of the heroes' party for being weak. When he reaches the meeting point, he notices everyone is talking about him. The rookies act differently now. Selma apologizes for using him as inspiration without knowing the truth. Oren stays calm and promises to support everyone. The escorts still respect him for reaching the 94th floor. He talks to Group 10 about the article. The girls don't believe it, but Logan directly asks if it's true. Oren admits he was removed for being weak and says he's not the hero they think he is. Sophia defends him, reminding everyone how he defeated a group of orcs instantly. Oren tells them he's strong enough to take them to the 51st floor and promises to protect them. The girls trust him, but Logan starts doubting him and feels foolish for trusting him earlier. Back in the dungeon, their goal is to move from floor 21 to 35. Oren lets the rookies lead until floor 31. Sophia and Carol handle most of the monsters. On the 31st floor, they face goblins. Oren gives orders. Logan buffs the team, and Carol defeats them easily. Suddenly, Sophia freezes when she sees an orc. Still affected by her past trauma, Logan wonders why Oren isn't acting, thinking he's unreliable. But Oren uses a debuff to slow the orc and calmly tells Sophia to focus since she's not alone. She regains control and defeats it with a fire javelin. Oren praises her, impressed by her advanced magic. On the 35th floor, they encounter a giant spider. Logan doubts they can win, but Oren tells him to keep supporting the team. Carol attacks and dodges the spider's strikes while keeping it busy. Sophia cuts its legs with wind magic. Just when Carol thinks it's over, the spider traps her in a web. Oren quickly reacts, telling Logan to boost her strength again and asking Sophia to prepare a rock arrow. Realizing Logan can only handle a few spells at once, Oren steps in and enhances Carol's weapons with his own magic. She breaks free and Sophia finishes the spider with her attack. After the fight, Oren gives credit to Logan's support, which boosts his confidence. They return safely and Selma praises their progress, reminding them the final day is tomorrow. Later, Anthem and Bernard invite Oren to dinner. They don't care about the article and treat him normally. They ask about his past, and Oren explains he was always busy in the heroes' party. When asked why he became an enchanter, he says he originally wanted to be a swordsman inspired by his grandfather, but as the dungeon got harder, the party needed an enchanter, and he had the best talent for it, so he took the role. Even though that decision helped them reach the 94th floor, Oren believes it was a mistake. He hints that the heroes' party won't progress further but avoids going into detail. When asked about his ideal, he says he wants to become a swordsman who can handle anything alone. Meanwhile, Sophia and Carol talk about the final day. Carol tells Sophia she should say goodbye to Oren, but Sophia instead starts thinking about asking him to stay with their guild. On the final day, Oren meets his group. Everyone knows this is their last push. Carol jokingly tells him to reward them if they reach the 51st floor, and hints that Sophia wants something from him. Sophia gathers the courage to ask him to join their guild, but before she can say anything, Selma calls Oren away. Nearby, Oren overhears rookies talking about the heroes' party. He learns they are trying to clear the deepest floors with their new enchanter. He quietly thinks they should have focused on teamwork first instead of rushing ahead. Meanwhile, the heroes' party is already on the 92nd floor. Oliver believes they can finally conquer the dungeon with their new enchanter Philly. 2 days earlier he introduced her, and the team thought she was better than Orin, but Luna strongly disagreed. She was upset that they replaced Orin, saying he was the core of the party and the reason they reached the 94th floor. The others dismissed her concerns, believing they were stronger without him. Even when Luna warned them that they couldn't defeat the Black Dragon without Orin, they ignored her and continued. Back in the present, the party struggles badly against a monster. Their coordination is off and Philly admits she's not used to fighting with them yet. Derek barely blocks an attack, and Nellie's spells fail to deal damage, and Oliver grows confused since Philly's buffs should be stronger than Orin's. When the monster attacks, again no one reacts in time because Philly is too focused on casting. Suddenly the Black Dragon appears even though it shouldn't leave its boss area. It crushes the monster easily. Luna immediately tells everyone to run, but Oliver insists they can win since they've beaten it before. He orders an attack but things go wrong instantly. Philly freezes in fear and fails to buff them properly. Derek and Nellie are quickly overwhelmed. Oliver tries his strongest move but the dragon completely overpowers him. Realizing the danger, Luna tells them to escape using a magic item called Fickle Gate. Philly warns that it leads to a random boss area, but Luna says it's their only chance. Oliver agrees and opens a portal, but the dragon attacks again and ends up entering the portal with them. They survive, but now the dragon has moved to another area, putting more adventurers at risk. Luna says they must report it so the guild can evacuate everyone. Oliver accepts the penalty for their failure, knowing it's better than letting others die. As Luna heals the team, she explains the truth. Their stats haven't changed, but they became weaker without Orin. Philly admits her buffs don't last long because of high resistance. Luna reveals that Orin's real strength was his original magic. He could increase the power of spells by over 50 times, something even top enchanters like Selma can't match. She also explains how his support improved their timing, attacks, and even their equipment. Without him, they lost coordination and efficiency. Everyone finally realizes they made a huge mistake by removing him. As they leave the dungeon, people praise them, thinking they are succeeding with their new enchanter, but Oliver feels the opposite. He believes they no longer deserve to be called heroes and finally understands that Orin was the one carrying the entire team all along. Orin reminds Group 10 that their goal is to reach the 51st floor. Carol gets excited to fight monsters, but Orin tells her to focus on protecting the team since she's a defender. Logan mentions a famous adventurer named Albert, who said teamwork is everything. Orin recognizes the name. Albert was the ace of the Silver Rabbits who died fighting the Black Dragon. Carol believes a defender failed him and says the best way to protect others is to keep them away from danger. Orin sees she's serious and simply tells her they're counting on her. On the 36th floor, Selma asks Orin to keep guiding Group 10, saying they have great potential. She also shares that the Silver Rabbits used to be the top guild before Albert died, and the Heroes Party took their place. She hints that Orin could replace him, but Orin refuses, saying the guild doesn't need 2 enchanters and reminding her that she's already the best. By the 40th floor, the group splits up. Orin explains how adventurers map dungeon floors to help others find safe paths. Carol is impressed by his knowledge and the group asks about his past battles. When a goblin appears, Carol rushes in recklessly. Orin quickly slows it with a debuff, allowing her to defeat it easily. Logan points out she would have been in danger without Orin, and Carol finally understands and apologizes. Orin teaches her active defense, a method where a defender targets weak points to stop attacks rather than just blocking. He reminds her that her role is to protect, not chase kills. Logan asks about using debuffs, but Orin explains they don't work well on strong monsters unless you understand their resistance. He tells Logan to focus on mastering buffs first. Orin also shows them his trap magic, revealing he's been using it the whole time to handle threats from behind. He teaches Sophia about parallel construction, a technique that allows casting multiple spells at once. She finds it difficult, but Orin says it becomes easier with practice and is necessary for deeper floors. She wants him to teach her, but he says they need Selma's permission first. Meanwhile, the Heroes Party reports to the guild. Luna urges the guild master to use force teleport to evacuate everyone, explaining that the Black Dragon has moved floors after going through the portal. Though the spell is costly, the guild agrees since lives are at risk. The Heroes Party is criticized for causing the situation, and they're ordered to defeat the dragon. Luna agrees but has her own plan. Back in the dungeon, Selma tells the rookies to stay safe while the escorts handle the boss. Oren charges in, first cutting its leg. Selma casts multiple spells at once, Bernard blocks, and Anthem finishes the boss. At the same time the hero's party rushes back. Oliver wonders why Luna asked the guild to prioritize floors 40 to 50. She reveals it's because Oren is likely there, and without him their team is now the weakest S-rank party. Though Derek is upset, Luna insists they need Oren to fix their mistake. On the 50th floor the escorts face another boss. Selma tells Oren to cut its claws. Even though its shell is extremely tough, Oren uses his original spell, Impact, boosting his sword's power massively and slicing through it. With teamwork they defeat the boss. Just as they think it's over, Oren senses something wrong. Suddenly the black dragon appears above them. Oren quickly realizes he's the only one still able to move. Everyone else is frozen in fear at the sight of the black dragon. He knows they won't survive unless he fights it alone. He tells the other escorts to protect the rookies while he takes the dragon on. They form a barrier around the group, but when the dragon breathes fire they know it won't hold. Oren strengthens it with his impact spell, and somehow the barrier survives. Everyone is shocked, but Selma understands that Oren saved them. Oren charges the dragon, boosting his attacks with impact, but his strikes barely affect it. Selma offers help, but he tells her he has a plan. He dodges its attacks, reflects a fireball back with a magic wall, and casts status up to increase his strength. Then he stacks the same buff multiple times. His body starts glowing as his power rises far beyond normal limits. Even Selma is stunned, since stacking buffs like that should be impossible. Oren pushes himself further, increasing his stats massively, but the strain is heavy since he's casting many spells at once. He knows he has to finish the fight quickly. As the dragon attacks he creates platforms in midair to dodge. This ability comes from his natural talent Magical Convergence, which lets him gather and shape magic freely. Unlike others who use it only for attacks, Oren uses it in creative ways. He manages to slash the dragon's neck, forcing it to crash down, but he's clearly exhausted. Even so he keeps fighting. A flashback shows Oren and Oliver as children, returning to their village only to find it destroyed by bandits. That tragedy is what drove them to become strong. Back in the present the dragon fires powerful energy attacks and even hits Oren, but he keeps going, determined to protect everyone. As it releases a deadly purple mist and launches countless arrows, Oren counters everything, cutting down attacks and defending with rock walls and reflections. The others are amazed he can keep up, but Selma realizes he's running out of energy. Oren remembers how the hero's party once defeated this dragon together and doubts if he can do it alone. Still he refuses to give up. He unleashes waves of fire magic, growing stronger with each repetition, but the dragon survives. Then he recalls Oliver's finishing move and decides to copy it. Using Magical Convergence he gathers all his power into one attack and strikes the dragon. The dragon tries to counter, but Oren boosts his power again and overwhelms it, causing a massive explosion. For a moment it seems over, but the dragon survives by sacrificing part of its body. It attacks again while Oren's buffs begin to fade. Selma tries to help, but Oren tells her to stay back since her magic might disrupt his rhythm. With little strength left, Oren boosts himself again and calls down lightning, but the dragon still stands. His sword finally breaks, yet he notices the dragon is also weakening. Gathering everything he has left, he uses his final spell to create a powerful dark blade. Dodging the dragon's last attacks he rushes forward and strikes with all his strength. A huge explosion follows. When the dust clears, the dragon is finally defeated. Everyone realizes Oren has won and saved them all. The hero's party arrives at the dungeon, only to find the black dragon already defeated. Luna rushes to heal Oren, but he tells her to focus on the others and clean things up. She quickly realizes he's the only one injured, meaning he fought the dragon alone. Derek can't believe it and demands an explanation, but Luna shuts him down, telling him to accept that he's nowhere near Oren's level. Angry, he tries to attack her, but she stops him instantly with her power. Oliver steps in, though it's clear he's frustrated that Oren took all the credit. Later Sophia writes a report about the mission, thinking about how incredible Oren was. She notices Selma is exhausted and invites her to relax. While resting, Selma admits she still can't fully understand how Oren managed to fight the dragon. Sophia explains that she could follow his moves because he had taught her the basics, and she realizes how much she learned from him. The next day, Selma thanks Oren for saving everyone and tells him that Vince wants to see him. At the guild headquarters, Vince offers Oren a place in the Silver Rabbits and even proposes making him a lieutenant. Oren hesitates, feeling he might not be ready, but Vince and Selma both believe in him. Oren says he needs time to think, and Vince agrees. Though he also mentions that the Adventurers Guild wants to meet him, Oren visits the old shopkeeper and admits he's unsure about joining the guild. He's afraid of being used and abandoned again. The old man advises him to think carefully and reminds him that people grow stronger by helping each other and covering for each other's weaknesses. At the guild, the master acknowledges Oren's victory over the dragon, but Anneli and Derek claim he just got lucky and that they had already weakened it. The guild master silences them and questions Oliver about his decisions. Oliver explains they rushed ahead because they believed their new enchanter was better. Oren points out that this was a mistake since she wasn't used to working with them yet. Oliver argues that being an enchanter is simple, just buffing teammates, which frustrates Oren. He explains that the role is far more complex and requires constant awareness of the entire team. Meanwhile, Selma wonders if Oren will join them, but doubts it since he's strong enough to stand alone. Sophia and the others decide they want him in the guild and believe they just need to get stronger so he'll accept them. Selma agrees and tells them where to find him. Oren spots them searching for him and hides, avoiding them because he has already decided not to join. He returns to the old man and admits he doesn't want to hurt their feelings. The old man reminds him that he clearly enjoyed being with them and encourages him to find where he truly belongs. That evening, Oren looks at the night sky until Sophia finds him. She invites him to join the Silver Rabbits and tells him it's the place where she feels she belongs. Her words stay with him. The next day, Oren returns to the guild and tells Vince he's ready to join. Sophia and the others are overjoyed. Wearing his new uniform, Oren smiles and says he's looking forward to working with them. In a flashback, Oliver defeats Oren during training, and the people watching believe Oliver will be the one to fulfill their hopes. But Oliver feels something is off and asks why Oren was holding back. Oren calmly tells him he has simply become stronger and calls him a genius. Oliver refuses to accept that and promises to get stronger so Oren will take him seriously. The truth is Oren held back because he didn't want to hurt him. Later, Oren meets his friend Shaun. He feels embarrassed about losing, but she tells him she knows how strong he really is. Oren admits he couldn't handle the pressure people placed on him, and now Oliver carries that burden. He wants to support him from the shadows. Shaun says she'll catch up to him so they can stand side by side. The memory fades before she finishes her sentence. In the present, the guild master reports to the Grandmaster that someone in the southern dungeon defeated the Black Dragon alone. The Grandmaster is shocked and first assumes it was Oliver, but is surprised to hear it was Oren. He asks if Oren has changed, but the guild master says he hasn't. The Grandmaster realizes Oren hasn't returned to his original state, yet still became strong enough to defeat the dragon. He orders close monitoring of Oren. Elsewhere in the east, a dangerous group is hunting powerful adventurers led by Shaun. A messenger informs them about someone in the south who defeated the Black Dragon alone. Their orders are to contact him, but they suspect he may already be aligned with the church, meaning they might have to eliminate him. Shaun doubts it's Oliver and is shocked that someone this strong exists in the south. She decides to handle it herself, determined to protect the region. It's revealed she believes Oren is dead based on a letter she once received. She swears to destroy the church, blaming them for his supposed death. Back at the Silver Rabbits headquarters, Vince introduces Oren to everyone and announces his plan to make him a lieutenant, replacing Albert. The other lieutenants question him, asking if he's ready to give his life for the guild. Oren hesitates, remembering a promise he made long ago, and says he cannot offer his life for the clan itself. This causes doubt among them, but Oren clarifies that his resolve is to protect the people he cares about. He promises to protect his comrades no matter what. Realizing his conviction, they accept him as the new lieutenant. Afterward, Selma is surprised by how things went but relieved it worked out. A staff member named Estella asks Oren to help train a new party. He worries about time, but Selma explains their guild limits dungeon time, giving him more freedom than before. He agrees. Oren then meets Unit 1, the guild's strongest team. Rain, a mage, Lucretia, a healer, and Wilkes, a defender, welcome him. They ask how he defeated the dragon, and after some hesitation he explains his unique abilities. His skill impact can increase the power of magic or equipment up to 100 times, and he can stack support buffs many times over, though it puts heavy strain on his body. When they suggest heading to the dungeon, Oren mentions his sword broke during the fight. The others are shocked he used such a basic weapon. Rain insists he needs a proper one now. They visit a blacksmith named Aaron who is also surprised. He agrees to forge a new sword but lacks rare materials. Oren then reveals he already has high-quality materials. Among them is a black dragon scale which shocks the group. Oren apologizes knowing their past trauma, but Rain instead praises him and suggests using it to forge his new weapon. During a meeting, Selma suggests training their teamwork on the 86th floor, but Oren wants to push further and reach the 94th floor to match the hero's party. When they arrive on the 86th floor, Selma explains their goal is to hunt noxious sheep. Though powerful earth dragons also roam the area, she reminds everyone to stick to their roles, with Oren leading as the attacker. Suddenly a fireball flies toward them. Oren blocks it with a barrier and realizes an earth dragon is nearby. Though it's hiding, Lucera uses her ability to track magic and locates it behind a bush. She forces it out and the dragon charges while firing attacks. Wilkes cuts through the fireballs, and Rain finishes the dragon with explosion magic. Oren is impressed by their coordination and realizes they are a well-balanced team. He praises Selma's leadership, making her blush. Soon 2 more dragons appear. Selma sees it as a chance to train. Oren and Wilkes move in, but Oren senses another threat and attacks, revealing a hidden turtle monster. They realize they're surrounded. Selma quickly assigns roles, sending the girls to handle the turtle while the boys deal with the dragons. As the dragons attack, Wilkes blocks and guides Oren using telepathy. Oren moves to their blind spot, activates his buffs and waits for the right moment. When the dragons focus on Wilkes, Oren strikes and uses his impact spell to cut both of them down in a single move. Meanwhile, the others defeat the turtle. They continue forward and Oren tells them he enjoys working with them. The team is amazed by his strength, especially his ability to defeat 2 dragons at once. Selma wonders if they can handle the 92nd floor, but Oren reassures them, saying they're strong enough even without him. His words motivate them and he realizes they've been pushing themselves since losing Albert. Selma admits she fears losing more teammates after what happened before, but Oren promises to protect everyone. After completing their mission, they return to the surface. Oren mentions he needs to meet the management division but isn't sure where to go, so Selma offers to go with him the next day. That evening they celebrate together. Selma officially welcomes Oren and the group talks about their future. Oren says he enjoyed fighting alongside them and wants to continue. The team is relieved he's easygoing since they expected him to be distant. Rain teases Selma, saying she might like him, but Selma denies it. As the night goes on, Selma drinks too much and starts acting differently, even flirting with Oren. He gets overwhelmed as both Selma and Rain cling to him, while the others joke about his popularity. Not knowing how to handle it, Oren uses magic to put them to sleep. Later, he carries Selma home. Sophia opens the door, surprised to see him holding her sister. She wonders if something is going on between them, but Oren explains Selma just drank too much. Sophia is shocked since Selma rarely loses control like this. Selma wakes up and apologizes, admitting she overdid it. Sophia forgives her but tells her not to trouble others. Selma notices Sophia seems happier lately and suspects it might be because of Oren. While showering, Selma reflects on the day. She realizes she feels more relaxed around Oren but is embarrassed about how she acted. She also becomes aware of her own feelings for him and worries it might affect her focus, especially since she knows Sophia also likes him. The next day, Oren and Selma visit Estella, whose desk is messy as usual, though she insists it's cleaner than before. They meet Carla, who manages new adventurers, and she confirms Oren will train Group 10. He says he has already read their files. Estella admits she's worried about the rookies but feels relieved knowing Oren is in charge. When he asks how to train them, she gives him full freedom, only setting one goal: make them strong enough to handle the middle floors within 6 months. It sounds tough, but she believes in their potential after seeing their progress. Later, Selma shares Sophia's past. Sophia was born to a maid who died after childbirth and was raised in Selma's family, but she was treated poorly. Selma tried to help, but things got worse after she left. When she returned, she brought Sophia with her, hoping she could build a better life. She asks Oren to look after her and he agrees. Oren meets Group 10 and they're excited to train under him again. He reminds them he still has room to grow, even after defeating the Black Dragon. He tells them they'll need to reach that level someday too. He encourages them to stay open-minded and not treat his words as absolute truth. Then he asks why they became adventurers. Sophia says she wants to be like her sister and figure out her own path. Logan reveals he wants money to support his poor village which sacrificed to send him here. After seeing Oren fight he realized how weak he really is and wants to improve. Carol says she just wants to kill monsters to make people happy, which feels unsettling but Oren doesn't push her. When asked about his goal, Oren simply says he wants to become strong enough to protect what matters to him. During training in the dungeon, Carol fights recklessly. Oren notices her dangerous style and steps in when a wolf attacks from behind, saving her with a barrier, but she explains she let herself be open on purpose. Then she reveals her secret: she can regenerate instantly and cannot die. Oren recalls her tragic past of being experimented on by a criminal group trying to revive an evil god. She was saved by Albert but lost him later, which affected her deeply. Oren gently helps her understand that her teammates care about her, and she breaks down realizing she fears people not smiling. He comforts her and promises to help her improve safely. Training continues. Carol practices controlled dodging, Logan switches to a spear for better range, and Sophia trains to use 2 magic circles at once. She struggles at first but accidentally triggers a hidden ability. Oren tells her to explore it slowly. As days pass, the group improves. Logan even spars well against Wilkes. Eventually Oren tells them they've cleared the first stage by defeating a boss without help, but reminds them to aim higher. Finally, Oren receives a new sword from the blacksmith. Everyone admires it and he promises to use it to protect the people important to him. Oren cuts down the Skeleton King with his new sword, and his team celebrates clearing the 91st floor. Selma asks about the sword, and he says it's perfect for him. He even gives it a name, Black Rabbit. Back on the surface, Selma asks if he's free the next day, but he says he already promised to take his students into the dungeon. She's surprised he won't rest, but he explains he'll only guide them and believes they can handle floor 29 on their own. He's proud of their progress, and Selma is happy, especially for Sophia, who's close to becoming a full adventurer. That evening, Oren visits the old man who warns him about a dangerous group called ADH. They've been secretly killing strong adventurers to stop anyone from clearing the dungeon. Oren realizes the guild likely doesn't know about them and wonders why they're interfering. Before leaving, he asks the old man to make something for him. Meanwhile, his team prepares for the upcoming fight against the Black Dragon. Rain holds onto Albert's uniform and promises to face the dragon in 3 days. Wilkes trains hard, determined not to fail again like he did before. Lucera also pushes herself even though she doubts her strength. Sophia, worried about Selma, begs her not to fight, but Selma reassures her and promises to come back alive. Oren's students successfully clear floor 29, marking the end of their rookie phase. Estella approves their request to challenge floor 30 but assigns an observer from Unit 2 to watch them. The timing clashes with Unit 1's dragon fight, and although Oren considers delaying the mission, the students refuse. They want to prove themselves without relying on him. Respecting their decision, Oren agrees but asks to review their plan. After hearing it, he believes it can work but reminds them to stay flexible. He gives them lucky charms, secretly warning devices, and tells them to stay safe. As they enter the dungeon, Logan detects monsters ahead but miscounts them. Still, the group handles the goblins easily, impressing the observer. He realizes their strength comes from Oren's training. At the same time, Unit 1 reaches the 92nd floor and engages the Black Dragon. With buffs in place, they fight together as Wilkes deflects an attack and Oren cuts off part of the dragon. Meanwhile, the students reach the boss room on floor 30 but find another party already there. Logan tries to negotiate but the strangers show interest in the Dragon Slayer. One of them reads Logan's mind and learns Oren is their teacher. Realizing they can use the kids as bait, they kill the observer instantly. The students panic and try to escape, but the exits are blocked. Carol fights back but gets knocked down. The enemy offers to spare them if they surrender. Back at the dragon fight, Selma tells Oren to attack, but he suddenly stops as his necklace glows. He realizes the kids are in danger. The charms were warning devices. Now they must end the dragon fight quickly, but just then the dragon releases a purple mist and fully heals itself. Oren understands the situation has gotten much worse, and now they're running out of time to save the kids. Sophia panics when she sees Carol injured, but Logan snaps her back to reality. He reminds her that Carol can regenerate and that their first priority is to survive. They prepare to fight their enemy Gibeah. Logan uses his buffs while Sophia fires a thunder arrow, but Gibeah cuts through it easily. He charges at them, but Logan triggers a trap, saying he predicted his move. Logan attacks with his spear, but Gibeah catches it, breaks free, and slams him to the ground. As he moves to finish Logan, Sophia hesitates, unsure what to do. At the last moment, her hidden power activates, stopping Gibeah and throwing him into a wall. Realizing this is her special ability, she quickly goes to help Logan, but Gibeah stands up again, and Logan tells her they must attack together with everything they have. At the same time, Oren continues fighting the Black Dragon. Knowing he can't hold back, he enhances his sword and charges forward, using his new Divine Flash skill. Selma is shocked by his power as he cuts the dragon down, but it regenerates again with its purple mist. Oren realizes he must destroy it completely in one strike. The dragon attacks with its tail, and Selma barely manages to block it with a barrier before being blown away. As the dragon prepares its breath attack, Oren transforms his sword into a spear and pierces its head, finally destroying it for good. Back with the students, Logan is knocked down and tells Sophia to run, but she's too scared to move. Shaun orders Gibeah to kill her, seeing her power as a threat. Just as he swings, Oren arrives and blasts him away. He apologizes for being late and tells Sophia she did well, promising to handle the rest. Oren confronts Shaun, asking why they targeted the kids. She admits they were bait to lure him out. Zuriel thinks they can easily defeat him together, but Oren uses his magic to trap two of them, increasing their weight massively before finishing them off. He then attacks Shaun, but she blocks him and counters with powerful blizzard and lightning magic. The students are shocked to see Oren struggling. Oren realizes her magic is extremely advanced, and Shaun admits he's strong too, even offering to recruit him. He refuses, saying he won't work with killers. As they fight, she begins to feel he reminds her of someone. Oren asks why she's killing adventurers, but her answer is unclear, something about a real one and a replica. Suddenly she becomes furious and attacks even more aggressively. Oren defends himself by transforming his weapon into different forms, even turning it into a shield and then a whip to capture her. Her hood falls off and both of them are shocked. Oren sees a flash of memory, and Shaun realizes he might be Oren, the one she believed was dead. She asks him to let her go, unable to fight him anymore. Confused, Oren hesitates and his magic runs out. As her allies begin to recover and Selma arrives with backup, Shaun retreats, telling Oren she hopes they won't have to fight again. Selma is relieved Sophia is safe, and everyone thanks Oren. Later, Oren reflects on the battle. Despite saving everyone, he admits they all were close to dying. He tells the group, including himself, that they are still weak and need to grow stronger so they won't have regrets in the future. And that's where this anime ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.